I think it was October 2014. It was the time that I realized that I made enough money not to work. You know, I think I got my first job when I was like 15, working at a car wash, and I had held a job ever since, but I've been fighting for the past, I don't know, decade, since about 2005, to find a way to stop working and actually be an entrepreneur and work for myself. So I did everything I needed to do, had everything set in motion, and was financially stable enough. I had all the things planned out. You know, I had started a little podcast that I was doing that was doing pretty good. So I was like, all right, I'll run my podcast, I'll be an entrepreneur. You know, but what I didn't realize is that I'm just gonna relax and chill. And that's exactly what I did, you know? Like every day, I pretty much interview people for my podcast. You know, I read a bunch of personal development books. You know, I listened to a bunch of other podcasts, and I just chilled around the house, right? But a funny thing happened. You know, I started to realize that I really wasn't accomplishing shit. Like, yeah, I had the title of entrepreneur and I didn't have to work, but I really wasn't accomplishing my goals and I wouldn't get anywhere. I was just basically consuming a bunch of fucking information, but not really putting anything out. And then I started to realize a funny thing, that I hadn't been properly trained to be an entrepreneur. You know, like all my life, whether that's school or having jobs, just like you guys out there, you know, I was trained to actually follow rules, I was trained to fall in line and follow rules and kind of not to make too much noise. And that's exactly what happened. You know, I followed those rules. I kind of sat back and did my job, but when it came time to really step up to the plate and be an entrepreneur and to create shit, I didn't know how to do it. And that's the reason why I had to take a step back and look at myself honestly and say that, you know, I'm not ready right now to be an entrepreneur because I don't have the skills yet. I've been working all my life and nobody taught me how to do that shit. You know, so I could read all the books in the world and that's not gonna prepare me for when the lights flip on and it's like, oh shit, I don't have a boss. Nobody's gonna tell me what to do. I have to do it. I wasn't ready for that, so I had to look myself in the mirror and say, yo, you're not ready yet, so what do you need to do to get ready? And that's part of the reason why I ended up taking the job, you know, that I'm still at now, is because I wanted to make myself uncomfortable. I found out that I don't do well when I'm comfortable. I got way too fucking comfortable being off, so I just sat around and fucked off and wasted a lot of time, you know? And I had to really learn about myself and find out that I need to be uncomfortable in order to get ahead. Like all the times that I've exceeded is because I've been uncomfortable. It started all the way back in sports. I remember, you know, I practiced so hard that by the time it came to the game, I practiced so hard to make myself uncomfortable. By the time it came to play the game, that shit was easy because, you know, we got our asses kicked so hard in practice. Every time I seen a scenario, whether there was a guy lining up on the hash marks, I knew instantly what he was gonna do. Oh, this motherfucker's about to try to get outside of me, so I'm gonna do everything in my power to stop him from getting outside. I had trained my body and my mind in order to prepare to be a good, you know, football player. And I had to do the same thing to be an entrepreneur. So I started with getting what I thought would be a shitty job because I knew I was gonna make myself uncomfortable and I was gonna be like, yo, I don't like my job, so I need to get ahead. It was the same thing I did when I was in the military. I didn't like being there, so, you know, I forced myself to develop some skills that was gonna allow me to leave that job. And that was the same thing I did when I took this job. But then I came to find out that when I had a new attitude when I came to the job I'm in now, you know, I did it to make myself uncomfortable, but I also brought my A game every day and I worked my ass off, and within, I don't know, a few months, I was already leveling up in that job by making myself uncomfortable and by bringing my A game and shutting the fuck up and showing up. You know, I was able to control my life, and that's the same thing I'm doing with this entrepreneur shit. You know, a lot of times I've always sat around and talked about, you know, I got this great idea to where I want to do this, you know, I got this crazy 100-page business plan that I really want to execute on, but still I don't do anything. You know, I'm just procrastinating, I'm just consuming information and just sitting there and not really getting ahead. You know, so I taught myself a valuable lesson, and that's the lesson that I'm trying to show you guys, is to be able to shut the fuck up and show up. Like, it's easy to talk about these things that we're gonna do. It's hard to get out here and set this camera down every day and to actually deliver. The road of least resistance is full. Like, I'm looking at traffic right now on the highway and people walking by going to work. Like, there's hardly any space out there because everybody's just doing the status quo, you know, showing up for work every day and expecting to get ahead. Like, you know, I've been showing up for 10 years. How come I hadn't got a raise? Because you hadn't did shit to set yourself apart. You're not the only person showing up. So what I'm doing is making myself uncomfortable every day because I know that's how I can exceed. There's plenty of room out here. I'm the only motherfucker out here with a tripod right now. You know, I'm the only motherfucker carrying this camera through the city. It's plenty of room, but do you got the fortitude to really do it consistently and to build and level up?